The day has finally arrived. Today, the Supreme Court began its first major examination of gay rights in 10 years. This hearing going on now about California's ban on same-sex marriage, more commonly known as Proposition 8. This morning, justices heard oral arguments that examine the constitutionality of the law. Prop 8 is a ballot initiative that passed in November of 2008, which amended California's constitution to recognize marriage as only between a man and a woman. Joining us right now to discuss all things Supreme Court is my co-host Mike Sachs, who is joining us from the court in Washington, D.C. Mike, it's great to see you.
Good to see you too, Abby.
So what has the mood been like? I know people have been waiting outside for days.
Yeah, and people have been waiting outside for days, and now the argument is over. Of course, DOMA arguments are tomorrow, but it seemed today in the courtroom that Justice Kennedy, who is the fifth vote here, he is going to be a deciding factor, seemed to embrace the idea that marriage equality is necessary under the federal constitution for all states, but then seemed so scared by that prospect that by the end of the argument, he was searching for a way to just throw out the case altogether.
So what else did they hear today? I mean, I know that both sides were able to speak, right?
Yes, both sides spoke, and the four liberal justices, that's Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Stephen Breyer, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan, they all attacked the Prop 8 proponents, saying that they did not belong in court, that they had no standing to appeal their case after the governor of California and the California Attorney General both abandoned the case. Now, Justice Kennedy did not agree with this. He seemed to think that they could come and appeal their case, and on that point, he sided with the four conservatives, at least assuming that Clarence Thomas agrees too. He wasn't speaking as is his custom. But then when it came time for the merits of the case, the constitutional question of whether same-sex marriage is mandated under the Constitution, Justice Kennedy, as I said earlier, seemed very, very, very intent on believing that it is a constitutional question, that same-sex marriage is protected under the 14th Amendment. And on this point, he sharply disagreed with his four conservative colleagues and seemed to be in agreement with his four liberal colleagues.
Really interesting. I mean, we're not going to hear anything else about this until when? June, right?
Right, we're going to get the decision in June, and what was particularly interesting is that every option available, and there were lots of options available to the justices, they could choose the 50-state solution, which, again, would push marriage equality to all 50 states. They could choose an 8-state solution put forward by the federal government, by the Obama administration, which all justices, both right and left, appeared to reject. They could choose to go with the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals decision, which narrowed the decision only to California, and Justice Kennedy seemed to be not in favor of that option, or they could have chosen to say that the plaintiffs did not have standing to appeal, which would have then junked the case on technicality. Of all those options, the only one Kennedy seemed to actually agree with was the most robust, the 50-state option, and that's why, again, by the end, he kept saying, should we even be granting this case? Can we just throw this case out? It was a pretty surreal moment.
Well, it's not only a decision that the judges are divided on, but the country seems very divided on this as well. We have a comment coming in from Tom Servo who says Roberts is young. If he comes down on the wrong side of this, he will have to eat major crow in the future. For that reason alone, I predict marriage equality. We have another comment from Mr. Finch, Mike, who says, I'm actually shocked by Ginsburg's comments not long ago that the court may have went too far, too fast on Roe v. Wade, which makes me concerned about this ruling. I could see a step in the right direction, but not a ruling that strikes down bans of against gay marriage nationwide. Obviously, this is something that the country is all divided on, and people are unsure of what the outcome will end up being.
Right, and of course the majority of people in this country are in favor of same-sex marriage, even though only 9 states in the District of Columbia actually have it. Now, to those comments, Justice Ginsburg did not seem at all daunted by the prospect of extending marriage equality to 50 states. She probably believes that this is very different, say, than Roe v. Wade in terms of the nature of the argument. And Chief Justice Roberts did seem very hostile to the idea of same-sex marriage. He did not seem at all swayed by, say, his lesbian cousin, who he gave tickets and reserved seats to today's oral argument to watch in the flesh. So I wouldn't expect Chief Justice Roberts at all to side with marriage equality in this case. But of course, I was wrong about Obamacare, and he could very well find a way to have a narrow ruling this time around as well.
Well, Mike, I agree. I don't think anyone expects that from Justice Roberts. But what's next?
So what's next? Well, immediately next is check out the story that Ryan Riley and I are putting together. It's already up in its preliminary form on HuffPost. And also the DOMA case tomorrow. That's going to be an hour and 50 minutes of oral argument. We're going to be here again. We're going to be reporting on it. And that presents a different question, whether the federal government can deny people married legally in states that recognize same-sex marriage of their federal benefits to Social Security, to tax benefits, military benefits, etc. But in the long term, well, I guess the semi-long term or the near term, not too far away, is the June decision. This case will almost definitely come down. The decision will almost definitely come down at the end of the month of June, and then we will find out exactly where Justice Kennedy's views will go and whether he will get a majority behind him.
I mean, any sense as of today? You're there. You kind of sense the mood. Do you have any sort of sense as to the direction this might lean towards, given, it's not till June?
Yeah, again, I think it's leaning towards marriage equality one way or another, and inside the courtroom it seemed like it was going to be a broad decision unless Justice Kennedy can get people behind him to say that they shouldn't have even taken this case in the first place, but that's a very slim prospect. One thing that I would note is that there was a several-minute-long colloquy between Justice Scalia and Ted Olson, who is representing the challengers to Prop 8, about whether or not, or about when marriage equality or when same-sex marriage became a fundamental legal right. Of course, Justice Scalia is an originalist, so he was asking was it 1791, was it 1868, and Olson evaded that question. He seemed to say, well, it kind of always has been, and even if it hasn't, the times have changed. In that respect, it seemed like originalism in the court did not really prevail today. Olson seemed to have the better of the argument, and I would imagine that he's going to win on the merits with the justices.
Well, either way, Mike, we are watching history play out. It's absolutely fascinating. We're so glad that you're there on the ground to walk us through the play-by-play and give us the mood there. And I know we'll keep touching base with you today and tomorrow, but thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.